Hey guys, welcome back, and boy oh boy, the wheels are officially falling off. Hell, the car is on fire at this point for MrBeast. This has gotten so insane, the depths to which people are digging to discover how twisted and out of control this entire situation with this company, this YouTube channel, and the people working there really was. So of course, it's really weird to see Rolling Stone put out an article going after somebody with a trans identity, but here you see Rolling Stone having an article talking about how Ava Chris Tyson supposedly used people, got certain favors out of them for promises of prestige and fame, essentially was just a all-around terrible person, which I think most of us could assume at this point, given the fact that Chris Tyson's being accused of being on Discord full of minors, sharing explicit material, messages, content, you name it, all sorts of disgusting stuff, not to mention his alleged association with the artist Shadman, who everybody knows by now, I'm sure, is this guy who does complete disturbing artwork, sometimes featuring real people's children. Absolutely vile stuff, right? So you have this hit piece from Rolling Stone come out about Chris Tyson, which is so crazy to see, because again, this is the kind of person that Rolling Stone you would expect to run cover for, because of the fact that he has this trans identity, which kind of gives him a like a victimhood shield in a sense. And yet more and more things keep coming out. We're seeing accusations that the Squid Game type game show that MrBeast was running was causing people to get injured. They weren't getting proper like health or medical treatment. They weren't getting fed. A quote from somebody says, "We're all just looking up at the sky, screaming at him like he's God." Now, side note, the funny thing about MrBeast, certain people think that, you know, he's a philanthropist, so you have to not be jealous because he's got all this money, and it's just, if you don't like him, it's because he has all this fame and wealth. Other people, it's like, oh, you know, I hate him because he's going to Africa and building wells, and he's this white savior. I look at the guy's face, and I've always said, something about MrBeast is unsettling to me. I don't like his face. I'm not kidding. I don't like his fake ass smile. I never have. I've always told my wife, he's got a very punchable face for some reason. I can't quite figure out what it is. I think we're starting to see through the cracks here what kind of person he really is based on the treatment, and the fact that he's going after people with, who had NDAs with, he's going after them with his lawyers. He's trying to shut down any discourse or any sort of conversation surrounding all of this stuff. Now his ex-girlfriend, and I know ex-girlfriend, guys, we got to take this with a grain of salt, is speaking out, talking about how basically, without naming him, how she's had this horrible relationship with somebody who's just complete crazy, psycho, he's just controlling, he's manipulative. And then, of course, you have this old post from his ex-girlfriend as well, saying, 3 years away from that weirdo, my skin is clear, my relationship and friendships are flourishing, I'm frolicking in a field. She's so vague, she said nothing. From the looks of it, I don't need to. Not putting myself through that shit again, but thanks. Again, you got to take it with a grain of salt. This is an ex-girlfriend, but it's just one more layer, one more piece of dirt on the pile that is already getting massively high. This is piling up left and right. And of course, Upper Echelon Gaming and a lot of other YouTubers and content creators have covered the fact that MrBeast's team is going back and deleting old clips of his videos, going back as far as 6 years to remove the artwork in question from old videos, certain references from certain episodes where they are talking about, you know, what would you do to get put in jail, all sorts of things that don't look very good. They haven't aged very well up to this point. Now, it definitely looks like he is scrambling, trying to cover his ass. And now we're seeing, again, claims about how they had cameramen on set that were trying to get into girls' pants here. It's absolutely insane. Just listen to this.
During the 100 Boys versus Girls video, I have people corroborating the same story that the camera guy who gave the girls a drone was making some girls feel uncomfortable. You trap these girls in a circle and make them sleep on rough turf and get them high on paint fumes, and then you try to f them.
Not a good look. Really not a good look. And now, of course, the worst time possible, MrBeast is actually launching a toy line.
This toy on Earth, MrBeast Lab Swarms.
Can I drink this?
But I mean, the irony is just that I can't even begin to tell you how horrible the irony is, that all these accusations of inappropriate conduct with minors and between him and Chris and all these other people. Well, now we're going to get into some even heavier stuff in a second when it comes to minors. But first things first, MrBeast yesterday had this internal email leak, and this has been confirmed to be real, This supposedly says, "Dear Team Beast, I wanted to update all of you on the recent concerns that have been raised online. I mentioned in a couple weeks ago that we hired Quinn Emanuel, top-tier law firm, to investigate the Ava Tyson allegations. We asked them to expand the scope to include a full assessment of our internal culture." Long and the short of it, what he does is he paints this as I'm taking responsibility for all this by saying, I was too busy making videos, I didn't make sure that all of our employees felt safe, and so we're going to hire a new human resources officer. We're going to have mandatory training to implement mandatory sessions on safety, harassment, LGBTQ, diversity, sensitivity training, and workplace conduct. We're going to have listening sessions where you can talk about your experiences and ideas, anonymous reporting, and an external review. Somehow that's supposed to make up for all of the disgusting, degenerate behavior that we're discovering happened behind the scenes. And then here's the real icing on this horrifyingly disgusting cake. Now we have a MrBeast former employee claiming that the YouTube show had a registered offender with minor victims as their production manager. And the Substack article from Fandom Pulse says the problems for MrBeast keep compounding after the Ava Tyson situation revealed that the transgender activist working for the hit YouTuber to be exposing minors to content across multiple platforms. Now it appears MrBeast has a worse problem among his hires, a convicted offender. And of course, you see the MrBeast controversy erupted last month, and we've kind of gone through all of that stuff, the not safe for work Discord, all the inappropriate messages, all that horrible content. It says, now MrBeast has gotten himself in further hot water as it's been shown he hired an offender, a registered offender, in addition to Ava Tyson, and apparently was well aware of this, even making jokes about having the man around his child-centric media empire. In a video expose on the topic, a former employee exposes how there's someone in MrBeast videos regularly who's also wearing a mask. He asks why someone would always wear a mask and give viewers what he believes to be an answer. And this person that wears a mask, I believe they call him Zorro or Delaware. And again, the Delaware name is allegedly because he can't go back to the state of Delaware. That was the original story that's been told. The alleged employee of MrBeast is Charles Jefferson, who was hired as MrBeast's studio manager. His profile shows him as a tier 2 moderate risk. And it's being said that his victims were between the ages of 1 and 11, making this a potential P-word situation for a YouTube channel that markets towards children as their main demographic, even going so far as to sell MrBeast-themed candy bars, which seems much creepier given this new evidence. Don't get in that van, children, whatever you do. As to whether MrBeast knew about the situation, it's also being alleged that they had a nickname for Jefferson on the set of the show Delaware, and the name was given to him because that was the state he was registered in. So now we have Jake the Viking, who I do believe, Jake Franklin, I want to say, because again, I am so not familiar with MrBeast out of this entire situation that's blown up. I'm finding out more and more than I ever wanted to know about this guy and anybody he's been associated with. I would assume Jake the Viking, Jake Franklin, was associated with MrBeast at some point, because it seems like he's intricately interwoven into MrBeast's empire and has a lot of information where he came out and said Jimmy knew about all this stuff. So after this guy gets exposed as being a registered offender, Jake the Viking comes out and says, here's the truth. Yes, Delaware is my brother-in-law. He is a registered offender. When he was 21, a 16-year-old girl accused him and others of assault when she was 11. Delaware took a plea deal. That's why there was no jail time, but he still had to register. His nickname isn't Delaware because he can't go back to Delaware. He's from Delaware. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's been back several times. He was hired before I was, and I was actually the reason I got he was actually the reason I got hired at MrBeast. I wouldn't claim that. I wouldn't talk about that. That's terrible. Before being hired, Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Sue, Jimmy's mom, and explained to them everything. So yes, Jimmy knew. Okay. Let me ask you a question. I don't care if it was a plea deal. I don't care if it was him, being falsely accused, and he only did that because he didn't want to go to jail. You are on the registry. You have no business being near anybody's kids or any content that is marketed towards children. Who in their freaking mind thought this was a good idea? He says Delaware's charges are set to be dropped this fall. Delaware has been nothing but a good person, amazing husband to my sister, and the best father to my 2 nieces that I could ever ask for. They want no part in this and just want to live their lives away from the limelight. Okay. I just can't even with these people. I swear to God, I can't. I understand why anyone would want to be upset and frustrated over these allegations. I don't blame them. Hurting kids in any way is unacceptable. But in the case of Delaware, I firmly believe he did nothing wrong and look forward to the day these charges are dropped. Yes, your brother-in-law. You're not biased at all. And of course, Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers says, so basically Jimmy knew who he was hiring the whole time to help run the show. If anyone with a case regarding a child shows up, you should never hire that person at all. For F's sake, especially for a media company making content aimed at kids. I'm sorry. That's it. That's the long and the short of it. Like I said, you can feel sorry for this dude all you want. You can say, yeah, maybe he was falsely accused. But she was 16. He was 21. She claims it happened when she was 11. I mean, oh, God, this is just getting so much worse than I could have even imagined. And again, the fact of the matter is, MrBeast, Jimmy Donaldson, knows who he's putting in place in his company. He knows all the dirt. He's been involved in all of it. He's been in the Discord servers. He's seen the artwork. He's been there the whole freaking time, and now he's trying to cover his tracks. This guy is disgusting. He's scum. I swear to God, I'm sick and tired of seeing people shill for MrBeast and run cover for him, because he's got a cult of 300 million people on YouTube who believe that he's just like the best person on the planet, and he's shown himself to be a less than even trustworthy human being, and at the worst, complicit in all this crap that has gone down. But I'm going to leave this right here, guys. I'm going to throw it to you guys in the comments. Let me know what you think about all this. Do you think anything's going to happen with this dude? I personally have no faith that Google, YouTube, or even like our justice system is going to look into this shit. I'll be curious to hear what you guys have to say about it. Let me know, and I'll see you later. Alright, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.